Hey everyone, it's me, Lisa. I just wanted to make a video because I was inspired last night watching videos from other people with rheumatoid arthritis to tell a little bit about my story, especially an awesome YouTube vlogger by the name of Yolanda Sabrina. She's made some really awesome videos about her journey that I could so totally relate to, and especially having just come back from a big road trip and feeling very exhausted from that. And I made a quick video on the road trip home saying that I'd used up all my spoons. So for those of you that don't understand what that is, it's a theory called spoon theory, which was a way that a person who had a different kind of autoimmune disease had used to explain to her friend what it's like being sick when you don't look sick on the outside. And she used a theory of grabbing a whole bunch of spoons off the tables in a restaurant and handing them to a friend, saying, like, these are the spoons that you have for a day, and everything that you do in the day when you get up, that takes a certain amount of spoons, and having a shower and getting dressed and getting ready, and everything you do uses up that allocation of spoons until the point where you literally just have no spoons left. And when that happens, it's like you've hit a wall. The tiredness that I get on a regular basis, which I'm so not used to because I've always been somebody that most people would have described as hyperactive, I guess. Like, people used to say, where do you get your energy from? I was always laughing and happy and full of beans and the life of the party. And I used to tell people, I used to tap my foot on the ground and I'd say, I'm tapped to the source, because I had so much energy, and I really felt like that the whole world was giving me energy. Now to sort of be dealing with this sort of level of fatigue, which is, unlike anything I've ever experienced. And the only way I can really describe it is, imagine having a really bad hangover and only having had 3 or 4 hours sleep at the same time, and then trying to function through your day and feeling like that even if you have had 10 hours sleep and you haven't drank any alcohol at all. It's just that's when people say, oh yeah, I'm really tired too, they don't understand the level. I guess, maybe people with other autoimmune diseases like MS probably suffer from the same sort of thing, and definitely, chronic fatigue syndrome, I hear people describing that as being very similar in the level of absolute hit the wall exhaustion. Your brain hurts. Along with that, your body hurts. And what I'm discovering now is that I do have different limits than what I used to. I used to push myself really hard, knowing that I could just rest and recover afterwards. And I've been trying to do the same thing now because, I run my own business, and with the magazine, I have to be out on the road and I have to be seen, and I have to keep that sort of PR machine rolling and keep the trailer rolling, as well as, all the behind the scenes things that people don't see, which is how many emails I have to respond to, and coordinating with distributors and printers and graphic designers and advertisers and everyone else that's, subscribers, and keeping all the databases up to date and making sure that everything sort of functions behind the wheels. I used to tell people that the magazine that you see, the end result, is like the swan gliding across the water. You go, oh, it's such a beautiful thing, and it seems so effortlessly beautiful. And I agree, I'm so proud of what a beautiful thing I created. And, it's an absolute honour to know that I was the very first person in the world to come up with an idea that nobody had thought of, which, being a hot rodding kind of girl and having worked on other car magazines, it surprised me that, there was vintage truck in the newsstands, there was vintage tractors, there was vintage a million other things, but nobody had ever thought of vintage trailers or vintage caravans, as we call them in Australia and the UK. So that was my idea. I was the first in the world to do that. I've since been copied, and the other magazine has been pretty ruthless, I have to say, in the things that they have done to deliberately try and confuse my customers. They feel threatened by me, obviously, somehow. And, I say flattery is the highest form of mimicry, because, what they've created is essentially a carbon copy of what I created first a long, long time ago. And, yeah, anyway, it's not worth going into the details of that, because I think it's petty and silly. But this was my baby, and it was my dream, and it's been, a dream ride, living the kind of life that I wanted to live, doing the things that I wanted to do, exploring, traveling, meeting people, writing about cool caravans and trailers and the people that own them, and I love my job, and I love everything about the benefits it's brought me as far as experiences, places I've seen, people I've met, absolute highs, absolutely amazing memories forever, that I will hold dear to my heart. But there is a shift in me, and things have become harder because of my RA. My RA hit me literally at the end of a very big road trip I did 3 years ago. It was the Route 66 trip, where I travelled all the way from Oregon across to Chicago. I did Route 66 all the way back across to LA. And the day after that trip, the day I arrived in Ventura, I remember getting photos of me jumping in the air, like, the Toyota ads in Australia have people kind of like, jumping in the air. Oh, what a feeling, and I wanted that with me in the Hudson. Oh, what a feeling, we made it all the way, and what an epic road trip that was. And then the next day I woke up and I went to step outside my trailer, and I was like, oh, my feet, it just hit the ground. Like, it literally felt like thousands of shards of broken glass under my feet, and my ankles were all stiffened up and tight, and I couldn't hardly walk. I was like shuffling along, and each step was excruciating pain. My hands were all swollen and puffy and like in this kind of position, locked, and I could barely make a fist or squeeze my fingers together. I thought, what is wrong with me? I know it was a big drive, and it's a big heavy car, and it doesn't have power steering, and the brake pedals, you have to push pretty hard, and everyone could see something was wrong with me, and my friends were saying, what's wrong? Are you okay? And I said, I think I have Hudson pedalitis, because that's kind of was my funny way of dealing with what is this. It's a road trip. I've pushed it. I've driven too hard, and now my body's screaming at me. So a month later, I was at another rally, and I noticed that the pain wasn't subsiding, whereas normally, when you've pushed it or you've lifted heavy things or whatever, you get an ache and a pain, and after a week or so, a bit of massage and a hot bath, it goes away. But this wasn't going away, and not only was it not going away, but it was moving, and it was travelling. It literally felt like it was travelling around my body. I'd get it here, my shoulders so bad, and then my big toe was so painful. It was so I was literally screaming in pain, because the weight of the blanket on my feet was like somebody was chiseling into me. It was just awful. I could hardly lift the blankets to pull them up. Like, I had no strength, and this pain was moving around. It was actually really bad in this bone here. Felt like it had a pain in it, which I found afterwards there is actually cartilage and joints that joins the clavicle to the sternum, and that's probably what was inflamed was in here, but it felt like the actual bones themselves, as it has often felt like the shin bones are really aching. I don't know that there's no joints in my shin bones, but somehow or other this aching pain was just gravitating all around my body, from different joints, from my knees to my ankles to my toes, my hands, my elbows, my shoulders, and my neck. And so at that point somebody said, I think you need to go to see a doctor. So I went and saw a doctor, and they ran a few tests, and they said, yes, your ESR count is quite high, which indicates some kind of inflammation process in your body. It could be any type of disease. It could be an infection. It could be anything. So they sent me off for some more tests, and one of those tests that they tested me for was rheumatoid factor. Not everyone who has rheumatoid arthritis has the rheumatoid factor in their blood, but if you do, it's considered a more severe form of rheumatoid arthritis, and my rheumatoid factor was 267, which left the doctor in no doubt that this was rheumatoid arthritis. My CRP and my ESR counts were through the roof as well. So I was sent to a rheumatologist who confirmed the diagnosis. He said, you have rheumatoid arthritis. At that point, I had been told by the doctors that there were a few things that they suspected it might be, and I'd done a little bit of research, and I'd spoken to my sister's mother-in-law, who had a friend who had rheumatoid, and she'd said to me, I really hope for your sake it's not that, because a friend of hers had it, and she wouldn't wish it on anyone. She said it's a horrible, horrible disease to get. So when the doctor told me that, I just burst into tears, because I knew what it meant. And he kind of tried to make light of it by saying, but the good news is you don't have lupus. And I think he was trying to be funny, but it wasn't very funny. It was a shock. It literally is like, I mean, I'm sure anyone who's been given an awful diagnosis of something will understand what that feels like. It literally is almost like you go through a whole grief process, and I did, and it took me probably the first couple of years of absolutely grieving the fact that this hyperactive, high energy, bubbly person that I'd come to identify myself as was no longer. And you know, I've always considered myself a very fit, healthy person. I've been into organic food, not natural foods. You know, I wasn't perfect all the time, I know that, but generally speaking, I was probably a lot more healthy than your average person. So, you know, I'd go rock climbing with my son. I'd dance all night long. You know, I went to the gym for hours on end and loved my rowing machine. And so, you know, to get told that you're sick when you've felt like you've done everything that, you know, this world tells you, that if you eat right and you exercise and you do this and you do that, that you won't get sick. So why did I get sick? It's a big why. Why me? Why this? What did I do wrong? And it doesn't help that there's, well, the first thing that I noticed when you get diagnosed, and it's, you know, at that stage it's visibly obvious, I'm shuffling like an old woman. I couldn't stand up for more than 5 minutes at a time. It got to the point where all my joints were so locked up that my feet were locked into like a 90-degree position. So the only shoes available to me were flat shoes with Velcro straps that my mum bought me. Thank you, Mum. Because I couldn't literally point my toe to put it in a shoe. My elbows locked into a 90-degree position, and before long my neck started locking up. I could hardly dress myself. I could hardly shower, wash my hair, even wiping my butt when I went to the bathroom. I mean, that sounds terrible, but that was painful and hard. And it was like, is this what life's going to be like for me now? You know, it's, you grieve because the you know has died. And it is like grieving for a loved one, because, you know, you're not going to have that person back. And you're told that this is an incurable disease. It's progressive. It's not just going to affect my joints. The name rheumatoid arthritis is so misleading, and I'm all for changing the name to rheumatoid disease. I actually have a rheumatoid disease awareness sticker on the back of my trailer. And yes, I do have a disability permit, and people sometimes look at you like, you don't look sick, why do you need that? You can't see the pain I feel when I walk. I think to myself, one time I went to a shopping centre, and all the close to the shopping centre entrances, handicap parking spaces were taken up, and the only one I could get was the furthest one away. And I saw this person put someone in a wheelchair and wheel them down and look at me like, you know, I had no right to be there. And I looked at that person in the wheelchair, and I actually was jealous of them. I thought, you know what? They need the handicap permit even less than I do, because they've got wheels and they've got someone to push them. Like, from getting from here to the shopping centre door isn't going to hurt them. For me, every step was agony, and I stupidly left my cane in the car because I was too vain and embarrassed to walk with a cane, because I'm way too young to be walking with a cane, right? So I left it in my car. And I took those steps all the way to the shopping centre, and all I wanted to do was buy myself a new bikini, because I'd been swimming a lot. I couldn't walk, but I'd been swimming, 60 laps in the pool every day, because I wanted to keep my body fit and healthy. So I decided to treat myself to a new bikini, because the one I'd had for like 5 years. The bikini shop was right down the end of the shopping centre, and every step I got was worse and worse and worse, to the point where I had to sit down every time they put like a seating area that they do in shopping centres, and I was in such pain that I was sitting there crying and you know, regretting my choice of leaving the cane back in the car. I went to my counselling appointment straight after that, and I said, I did a dumb thing. He said, what did you do? I said, I went to a shopping centre and I didn't take my cane. And you know, he talked to me about learning to live with the adjustments of life isn't the way it used to be, and you have to learn to adjust and do things differently than the way you used to do them. So I'm going to talk some more about that, but I've literally got to walk out the door. My little doggy has had her spaying surgery today, so I've got to go and pick her up. But I will continue this story a little bit later and talk more about my rheumatoid and how it's affected me, medications that I've been on and how they affect me. But I just wanted to do something a little bit different from my usual, yay, I'm happy and I'm on the road and I'm having a blast kind of videos, so that you guys can kind of get a, nobody's going to know what this disease is, and we're not going to increase the awareness. Like, most people know about MS, and they know about cancer, and they know about all sorts of diseases, because there's a great campaign out there of people trying to make people aware of this. And rheumatoid arthritis, rheumatoid disease, as I will call it from now on, is a hidden disease, and it's an invisible disease oftentimes, except in those moments when you literally are crippled, and in a wheelchair, as I have been a few times as well. So anyway, I'd love to chat more about it, but just wanted to get this ball rolling and start to help hopefully increase that awareness for other people like me, and also hopefully to inspire other people in my situation who are sitting there feeling very sorry for themselves and feeling like there is no hope. It's not all hope that I can give you, but I can at least show you that how I've learned to adjust to it, and the changes I've had to make, and how I'm coping with things. And let's get this conversation going. And in the meantime, those few people who do know the truth and have been supportive of me, and bless your hearts, love you all. So I better sign off and go, but I'll continue this one later. All right, bye.